Alright, I have decided to do my entire vintage smoke alarm collection. Kinda just because I wanted to do one, but also because I did get, I was asked, someone wanted me to do an updated collection. So here it is, and it can't even fit in the entire screen. I can't even like zoom out any further either, I just tried. But anyhow, this is probably like 110 or so alarms. I can't remember the exact count. But we're gonna start from here, the boring ones, well, more boring ones, to the cooler ones. And I'm also in my living room, by the way, which is why it's different in here. So anyhow, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first alarm here, this is a Lifesaver Fireetics model 0916. This is from 1997, and this is the rare diamond grill. It does 4.6, and it has hush feature as well. I got this one from my grandma's. It was sitting in the basement, and I threw the bracket out because I didn't think the alarm was still there, and so the original bracket that was in the upstairs, I just threw that out. So that's why I don't have a bracket for this. But anyhow, that's the first one. Next one here is the Fire Sentry, actually. Fire Sentry 0805. This is just a rebrand of the Lifesaver 0905. There's the model there. And this is just a simple one. It's got the normal white horn, and it's from 1994. And this is broken. This has been like this for years, like 2 years now. Basically since I got it. I don't know what happened to it. I think it was just like that out of the package. So I need to get a new one eventually. Probably the original Fireetics one. Next one, I had this one for a long time. This is, I think, this is my second Fireetics alarm. This is the Lifesaver Fireetics 0906, I believe. With a hush. It's just a hush button version of this, and these are actually getting pretty rare. And this one actually, strangely enough, came in a contractor box, but sadly I got rid of the box a few years back because it had mold growing on it. Here it is. This is just a basic one. There are very rare versions of this with the black horn. Like, they're a lot rarer than these with black horns. I don't know. I can't remember who has it. But there is a video of one with the black horn. This is the first Fireetics I ever had. This is the 1225. I got this one from my stepdad's. If I can get the bracket off. And well, it's a 1225. It's just I say basic, but it actually has a black horn, believe it or not. Which these are kind of rare with black horns. It's like 50-50. But yeah, just a Lifesaver 1225. Nothing really special about that. Now this is the Lifesaver Fireetics 0908. I have a video unboxing this on my channel. It's one of my oldest ones. And this is actually a rare one that has a flashing light, which I do have a short form video testing a few of my escape light units, and I test this in it. But it's from 1989. I do not know when this one was made. I think this one was made in like 1990 or something, or 1991. I can't remember. And here it is, and then the model is right there. And I'm hoping to eventually get the F900D, but I just have not had luck getting one. On to the next one. This is a Lifesaver Fireetics 1255. This is the predecessor to these. I got this from James. Well, I bought it off James. I'm not going to take this off because if any of you guys own one of these, then you know how hard these things are. the brackets are to get on and off. But it's from 1991, I believe. And it actually does have a black horn, but I don't know how well I can show you that. I think it's... you can't... Well, it's going to be hard to see, but it's in there. But it does have a black horn. I think mine's the only one to have a black horn. So, that's pretty cool. And then, on to my last Lifesaver FireX that I have. This is their travel alarm. This is the Lifesaver FireX 0981, and this is actually uses the older sensor, like the F900D sensor. And this one, these always came with black horns. And yeah, these are pretty neat. And I do not know the year. Oh, it's from 1982, so this is actually my oldest Firenetics, believe it or not. Anyhow, on to the next row. Alright, next one is this American Sensors. American Sensors SA318. This is a micro Dicon. I can't remember exactly what they're called. Micro Series or something like that. Sorry about that. And this is from 1998, September 14th, I think. And it, believe it or not, it does do 4.6. And I did get this from an American listing a few years back now. And it does 4.6 still, even though it's a year after they the year after Code 3 was mandated. Anyhow, next one, this is the Jameson Model A, I believe. Yeah, Code 1 2000 Model A from 1994. This one actually came from Leah. I bought it off Leah a few years back with a JSNA. And yeah, nothing else really to say about that. This one here is a Jameson React RS1. Brackets on these are super hard to get off. Well, it's there's the model. It's from 1985. And yeah, it's just your generic FXB rebrand. It's literally just an FXB with a different label. But yeah, and there's still corrosion on it. I don't think I ever cleaned this off, so I gotta get around to cleaning it eventually. Anyhow, on to the next one. This is the Jameson Code 1 CDH1. This is based off of kind of like the 3rd gen FXB. Or the FX830, I believe it is. The one with the white button that uses the same base. And these are getting pretty rare for whatever reason. They don't pop up nearly as much as they used to. Next one is the Jameson React Code 1. It's just Jameson Code 1 CDM1. They also had an H1 version of this, which were slightly more common, but I don't have that one. And this is from 1986. Also, I don't think I said the year on this one. This one's from... this one's from 1987. So. Yeah, and these are basically both based off the exact same thing. Every Jameson, for the most part, is based off the exact same thing. So, yep. Next one is 2 Jameson CD1s. These are the most common Jameson units. And these are literally based off of, well, same thing most of these are based off of. Just the 2nd gen FXB. And, I'm just going to show the back of this one. This one's from 1982, so this one's actually very early. almost as early as my actual 2nd gen FXB, which is cool. There's the model there. And this one for some reason is really yellowed. I don't know why. It yellowed super quickly after I opened it. And then this one, oh, this one doesn't even have the bracket. This one's from 1985, I think. Yeah, 1985, so this one's slightly later. This is the first Jameson I ever got. And first FireX, well, older FireX based unit I got. And the reason the bracket's on this is because I hang it up on my door sometimes. Alright, now I gotta get that out of the sunlight. But anyhow, this one here, this is also one that's becoming pretty rare. This is the Jameson CD24 from 1986. And I do not think these are based off of any FireX model, although I would not be surprised if there is a FireX model like this. But yeah, and I don't know why this is pretty yellowed. I think like the second day I had this, I opened my drawer that I had these in before I got my bins, and it was just yellowed for some reason. I don't know if I spilled something. The button also doesn't press down anymore, but it does still work. And these are basically just Jameson Megahorns, because the Megahorns use the same print, except they closed off all this. Then of course they had like, well, where the Megahorn would be, which is just a piezo. Next one is actually a pretty rare one. This is the Jameson CD2, the hardwired version of this. This is based off of the FX1020. These are, like I said, pretty rare. This one's from 1989. And this has the classic mechanical buzzer, which I really like. This is probably my favorite Jameson unit they made, and my favorite one that I have. That's unless I can somehow get a Megahorn, but I'm not really necessarily after a Megahorn. Anyhow, now we're moving on to the original FireXs. This one here is a FireX Model A. That's what the Jameson Model A is based off of. This is from 1994. The lighting is making this look really weird for some reason. But yeah, this is just your basic unit. I do like these. I like the white buttons. Next are two Model GCs. These are actually the first ever FireX. This was the first ever FireX unit I got out of my apartment. And it's actually I think my second smoke alarm or my third smoke alarm I ever had. And it's from 1999. 1999. The lighting is making these look a lot dirtier than they are. But yeah. And then that one's the same thing, just newer. Or new. Not used, really. Next one here is a FireX Model H. I got this from my sister. And it's literally the same thing, just older. It's from 1991. And Jameson did rebrand these. So, yeah. Now we're getting on to some of the more unique stuff, or not unique, but cooler units. This here is the FireX FX1218. I got this recently. This is from 1992. I do not taking the bracket off, because if you own one of these, then you know how difficult it's. You have to use two hands, basically, to get the bracket back on. And you can see all the corrosion down there. It seems like all the ones that came from the listing that I got mine from were just super corroded. But it does work, and I really like this. I've been wanting one for a long time. Next is a pretty rare one. This is the 2nd Gen FXB. This has a tiered button. These brackets are clean. This is from 1983, so my Jameson's surprisingly earlier. Seemingly earlier. Although you'd think that it'd have a tiered button, which actually they did exist, the Jamesons with tiered buttons. Or at least I think they exist. I'm pretty sure I was told that they did exist and we've seen them, but I'm not sure. I'd like to get a Jameson with a tiered button, that's for sure. Anyhow, on to the next row. This is probably the rarest smoke alarm in my collection. This is the FireX FXC. I'm one of 9 people to own one. And this is one of 10 that we've ever seen. Or one of 10. I say that because all 10 of the ones we've seen were from the same listing. Other than that, we have not seen these ever before, other than just a simple drawing in a manual that really didn't explain these well. But this is basically the original FireX model. Well, the FXW-1 is, which is my holy grail, but this came out alongside the FXW-1 and the FXB1, which the FXB1 had a lens. And then the original, like the really early FXW-1s also had a lens, meaning that the really early versions of these also most likely had a lens. But that will probably never be seen, or at least not going to be seen for a little while. And this has the old FireX logo, which I really like. And this does not have a year on it. FXC1. And it's issue number 4,376. So there are quite a lot of these out there. We just don't see them. Maybe FireX never sold them or something. I don't know. I have no clue where that person got these from. Anyhow, next one. Also, this is probably like circa 1979, circa 1980 maybe. And who knows if Jameson has a rebrand. That would be pretty cool. Anyhow, this one here, this is a Vulcan Mark VIB. This one is the later one from the early 90s to even 2000s. This one here specifically is from 1990. They also had gold ones from like the 70s. I would eventually like to get one of those, but it's not priority. These have really satisfying buttons. This also has the rare blue Marauder horn, or blue Marauder horn, just like the Jameson CD24 escape light unit, which I forgot to show the horn, but yeah. Then here is the First Alert SA67B. This is a 90s version, which is why it's in my vintage collection video. 1999, November 29th. I got this from a family member's house. Yep. I thought it was pretty cool because it was from the 90s. Even though, if you know me well, you know I don't necessarily like these units. Anyhow, on to the next one. This is another alarm I got from a family member's house. This is the First Alert model SA203. And this is from 1997. And it does not work if you've seen my video. I think it's from 1997. So, the unit. Yeah, I'm going to say 1997. Around circa 1997. And then I'd like to get a black base one, which they did have, and I believe those ones are actually labeled Sears, believe it or not. I know Kiera, or Jack Williamson 54, I think is his YouTube username, has a few that are labeled Sears with black bases, which are pretty cool. But yeah, I'd like to get one with a black base eventually. Next one is pretty rare. This is the yellow button First Alert SA88. These usually came with gold buttons, but the really early versions, like the ones in the commercials, had the yellow button. And they also had yellow button versions of these and yellow button versions of the SA150 LTs. I do not think they had any yellow button versions of the SA150 LTDs, but that would be cool to see. And here's the inside. This is from 1988. So this is a very early one. And this is probably the most common First Alert you can get that would come with a yellow button. Next is the SA9, I think it's SA90LT, right? Yeah, SA90LT. This is the light test version of the SA67D. And it's from 1994. These are pretty basic, but I do like them. I like them more just for the fact that they're classics, really. Next one is the first alarm I ever got off eBay. And what really started my vintage collection as a whole for the most part. The First Alert SA67D. I got this all the way back in like 2018. Yeah, I got it before my Sears, I think, my Gateway Sears, although I can't exactly remember. But, yeah, this started my eBay addiction. And here's the inside. I've had it for so long, the labels, the dates rubbing off. It's from 1995. And it does still work. I used to have another one, but I gave it to my cousin because he was kind of getting into smoke alarms for a little while. Or for like a day, and then he stopped being interested in it, and then either him or his mother threw away the box that had this and a few other units in it. Next one is not an SA67D. Well, I mean it is, but it's not labeled SA67D. This is the First Alert 83R. This is just a really early 67D. And it's from 1988. So yeah. And these actually use better plastic than these ones use. These ones are a lot cheaper than these ones. Now, on to the next one. This is the last smaller cover version I have, First Alert I have. And actually I have all of them, now that I think about it. Including the weird versions like the 83R. Anyhow, this is the SA150 LTD. There it is. And there is a version of this, like an early version that has open vents, which I'd like to get. But this one's fine for now. These are kind of becoming uncommon. It's from 1997. And yeah. And I have a friend who really likes these. Definitely really likes these. Next one is the SA150LT, or the predecessor. But strangely enough, these were actually made at the same time. Although this did, of course, replace it. And these are also becoming pretty rare, believe it or not. And these have, of course, the rare yellow button versions as well. And this is from 1992. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty late. And I'm really glad I got it because, well, like I said, they're getting pretty uncommon. Next is a First Alert SA120C. Yes. And this is, I believe, the earliest escape light model they had. This one being from 1986. I imagine they probably had these with false alarm sensors. Although, I'm not sure because they might have been just too late. Made too late, because I know they were making SA120s at the same time as this, which are the versions with the like similar to the SA76RS. Well, the covers that were similar, the covers were literally just SA76RCs, but with, of course, an escape light. I don't know why I was having such a hard time explaining that. Next one, this is the SA76RD. The successor to the RC, and the last one to carry the R model number. And this is from 1987. It's actually pretty late. Next one is a first gen SA67D. These are the white button ones. This one is from 1986. These, of course, had false alarm sensors. These ones were more common with false alarm sensors than these were. But anyhow, on to the next row. Alright, next one is probably my rarest First Alert. Well, I say that, but technically that's rare. But anyhow, I'll get to that. This is the SA80FD. This is kind of like their prototype model, although these were sold. A lot of these were seemingly sold because I find them a lot while home searching. And this one is this is actually the earliest one known to exist in collectors' hands, being from 1975. Although 1985, my bad. Although there were 83Rs that were made in 1984 with this sensor, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had these from 1984. They also had a white button versions, which I think were SA81s. I'd like to get one of those. Those ones are actually quite a bit rarer than these ones. Next one is... Okay, next one is actually the SA76RS. I forgot I put this one after that one. This is, this was something I'd been wanting for so many years, and I was finally able to get one for a really good price, too. And this, of course, was First Alert's first ever smoke alarm that they made with the Smoke Alert / First Alert branding. And it's from 1978. Of course, classic BRK sensing chamber. And yeah, and this was one of my recent acquisitions. I got it. It's actually the one, my second most recent. And I'm super glad to finally have one of these. And then the next one is, put that back like that. The next one is technically my rarest First Alert, but since it's been taken apart, I don't really consider it to be rare. This is the transmitter version of the RS. This is the First Alert 77 SA77 RF transmitter version, but it's missing a lot of its circuitry. This actually came from Leah Woods, but it does still work, believe it or not. I liked, for a long time I called it my homemade SA76RS, or just my fake SA76RS, because that's really what it was at that, or really what it is at that point. Next one is the, now we're moving on to BRK. Next one is the, oh, this is from, sorry, I completely forgot the year. This is from July 7th, 1978. I'd like to get a new one of these, or at least find a PCB. Anyhow, next one is the BRK 4919 from 1991. These are actually getting pretty rare, the BRK labeled ones. The First Alert ones are also pretty rare, but they're definitely a lot more common. Next one is the BRK 83R. This is what the SA67Ds are based off of. There's the model. And then this one's from 1996. It's pretty late. And they also had versions of this, like I mentioned earlier, with the false alarm sensor made as early as 1984, which I'd really like to get. They also had an 83P, which had a white button, and they had the 1201, which had an escape light. I'd like to get both of those, but specifically I'd like to get the 83P, just because there's something about them with white buttons that I like. Next one is the BRK 86 RAC. I'm not going to take the bracket, actually I have to take the bracket off. This is the second gen, the most common one you can get. There's the model. This is from 1987, I believe. Or 1997, one of the two. Probably 1997. And that's a classic. I'm super glad to have one of those. For a long time, I was not able to get my hands on one, but now I have one. So. Next one is not an 1839N. This is an 1839WN. The much more the successor to the 1839N, and in my opinion, the better version because it doesn't have push-in terminals. It has an actual harness. There it is. I believe these are actually decently rare with the yellow label, although I'm not sure. I might be thinking of the 1839N. But yeah, this is another one that I was glad to get. I'm glad to have, because they don't pop up really too often. And I got this for super cheap, along with that one there. I think I got it for like 15 bucks, sealed in box. Next one is, if the lighting would focus, is the I believe this is my first BRK unit. This is okay, the 1839 ACI. And this is the mechanical buzzer version of both of those. And this is actually a rare one with a black horn and then the false alarm sensor. And I really like those. I'd like to get a new in-box one eventually because this one, I kind of broke some of the cover tabs. I mean, it stays on, but you know, of course, keep that one because it's rare. But anyhow, this is a pretty rare one. This is the BRK 1769 ACI. This is the predecessor to that one. Now the label's rubbed off, so you can't even see the model. So I never said the year on this one. This was from 1994. Then this one, I'm not sure on the year. I'm gonna say circa 1985, and this is also circa 1985, or maybe circa 1980. But yeah, and these are the ones that look like system detectors, of course, and I really like them. And I'm super glad I got it when I did, because I got it for a decent price. And there hasn't really been one since. There was one, but it was super overpriced. Anyhow, next one, this is another one I'm super glad I got, and I got for super cheap. I originally had two of them, but I gave one to someone, to another collector who no longer collects, sadly. This is the BRK-79R. This is the rare late version. This was their last version, and it actually had the old logo, even though at the time they had already been using their new logo. Block letter logo. And this is from 1984. I'd like to get one with a red horn with the 3 holes and with a tiered button, or just one with a tiered button. Anyhow, next one is probably my rarest BRK unit. This is the BRK 1200. I got this years ago as a gift back in 2020. And this is actually from the same year as that, and as you can see, they have their block letter logo. 1984. And this one, I got this, this is fully operational now, so I was able to fix it, because for a long time, I thought it was broken, but it was actually just me being dumb. And the bulb was burnt out, and then the PCB head came unclipped, but I clipped it back in last year. So it doesn't false, and the light works now. Next one is my only Dicon. I say only Dicon. It's my only actual Dicon labeled Dicon. All my other ones are labeled American Sensors. But this is the Dicon 330L. This is from circa 1990. It does not have anything, like any date on the back, and I do not feel like getting the bracket off this one because these are actually super hard to get off and it's annoying. But I'm really glad to have a Dicon finally, and the button is very satisfying. Anyhow, on to the next one. This is probably the most interesting one. Actually, no, not the most interesting one so far. But this is the Probe 101. Ooh. Sorry about that. The Probe 101. This one is from 1985. This is one of the earliest ones. I think mine and James are both some of the earliest ones. Sorry, I was looking at the issue number. And I got this one from my grandma. It's the same place I got the first unit I showed off there. And actually, funnily enough, when I originally had seen this, I thought this was just a weird FireX. But it turns out it was rarer. Well, not much rarer, but it was rarer. And yeah, I'm super glad to have one of those. I'd still probably like to get a new box one eventually. Next one is the Radio Shack, I think 45477. This is a rebranded Probe 101, the most common one you can get. It's the model 49466 from 1987, circa 1987, from that date at least. Yeah, I'm glad to have one of these. I mean, I technically already have one, which you'll see next, but for some reason, I just had some Christmas money laying around and decided to buy it because I got it for super cheap. Yeah, so anyhow, on to the next row. Next one is the Universal SS750, I believe. This I also got from my grandma's. Just like the Probe 101 and the 0916. Yeah, SS750. These are actually pretty rare, believe it or not. I'd like to get a new in-box one eventually, but it's not priority, as long as this one doesn't break. Next one, this is a early guard, EGD 5S. I think there's also a 5i with interconnect. And this is, I don't know when this one's from. This one actually just has not numbers, letters on its manufacturing date. So I put this one at circa 1985. This one also doesn't have a manufacturing date, so I put this one at circa 1985 as well. I'd eventually like to get the not the original, but the earlier version of this with the slightly bigger cover and the mechanical horn. And I'd also like to get the later, I think it's EGD 6B or something like that, which is like the small square one. And then there was also, of course, the Voc Alert, which is what the small one looks like, except it doesn't have the Voc Alert part. And actually recently, Nathaniel found out that there was actually hardwired ones of those, which is pretty cool. So any one of the small square ones I'll take. Anyhow, next one, now we're moving on to Honeywell. I only have one early guard unit for now, but this is the TC49D 1002, I believe. This is the rare version without interconnect. And this one actually has the lens. And, I'm still on the hunt for the CD200A. Here's the model. Model 3 it says there, but that's the model number right there. This is from 1979. I'd like to get, the CD200A is my top priority right now. But eventually I'd like to get either a line cord version, or just, yeah, a line cord version, so like a CD100 or whatever, CD300. And then I also wouldn't mind having the CD400A, but I don't think that's just one of those alarms I don't think I'll ever get. Because not only are there other people that deserve one, but they're also extraordinarily rare for some reason. Well, at least it is for smoke alarm collectors, because there is a fire department that has like 2 or 3 of them, which is crazy to be honest. Anyhow, next one is the TC49A 1054-2. This is the line cord one. It's right here. -2, and this one's from 1977. And this has the old sensing chamber, and it also has the older cover without the little thing that goes around it like that. Next one, this is my first Honeywell. This is the TC49A-1054. This is just the basic one, the later one. Still cool. I do like these Honeywells. And this is from 1977 as well. That one might be, no, that one's from 1976. My bad. I knew there was a year gap. That one would have to be from 1976. Anyhow, on to the next one. This is my Fuller brush, model 244, is it? I can't remember. I always forget this model. It's 422. This is a rebranded Kit of Fenwell, or at least I think it's a rebranded Kit of Fenwell. Although at this point, the Kit of Fenwells could actually be the rebrands. And I don't know if I was dreaming or what, but I swear I saw like an ad for one of these, or like a picture of one of these that was hardwired instead of line corded, but I was probably just dreaming. Although those most likely exist. Anyhow, next one is the, I think this is a perfect line. Yeah, perfect line. Model GSD-10P. This is a gas / poisonous fumes detector. So technically it is, I guess it could be considered a smoke alarm because I believe it does go off to smoke because that would be a poisonous fume. Next one is the KF Industries model 535. I believe this is the earliest one, the earliest model that they made. Yeah, and also I put that one there at circa 1975. This one is, I believe, from circa 1971. I know that one is pretty early, and this one I just do not know the year of. I'd say circa 1975. Now we're moving on to the new tones. First one here is starting to get really difficult to reach these. First one is the new tone, I think S190. This is the later, smaller cover version. Try and get the cover off. The covers are a pain to get on and off of these. Wow, you just cannot see that. Yeah, it's S190. Then the S191 is the line cord version. I'd like to get the battery powered version of this, but that is very unlikely because those are decently hard to find. Although there is one on eBay, but it's going for like $200, and I'm not paying $200 for any smoke alarm. Next one is my first ever new tone. This is the S180L. I cannot get the cover off this one because it's stuck for some reason. Oh, that one is from circa 1980, and then this one is from 1976. I'd like to get the original, the S180, just the S180, not the S180L. There's a reason for that, and well, there's a reason I like to get that one. You'll see why if I ever get one. Next one, this one I just got this year. I did have a video, but I didn't really like how it turned out and deleted it. This is actually a system detector. This is the new tone model. Model S189. There's the original ESL model. And oh, sorry about that. And the only reason I got this was mainly because it was super cheap and no one else wanted it. It was a bid and I won it for a very good price. I'd eventually probably like to get the version of this with heat sensor, which there is one on eBay, but I don't want to pay that much. So yeah. Anyhow, next one, this is the Family Guard FG888D with white button and false alarm sensor. From 1985. Also, that is from circa 1970. Those ones are pretty early. Actually, I think that one there specifically is from 1974 or something like that, or maybe 1975. I can't remember. Anyhow, this next unit here, this is the FG888C. This is basically the predecessor to this. I got this one from Leo Woods. And this is 79p base. And it's from 1983. And I really like this one. I'd like to get the FG777. That's the one I was after. And mainly the reason I got this is because it looks like an FG777. but I do really like this unit. Okay, now we're moving on to my EI collection. Well, these ones aren't EI, but you probably already saw the full EI row. Anyhow, this is the Black & Decker SMK 100 from 1993. There it is. This one actually came with a little like emergency light. This does not work, but I got it because I had one. I do have a video of it, my old one. But one day I took it out of my bin and the button had completely snapped. Actually, it was the day I got this that I realized the button had snapped. Anyhow, on to the next one. Next one is the Black & Decker SMK 300. This is the escape light from 1989. It says Type 1 for some reason. This is actually a pretty early one too. And then this is the SMK 200. This is kind of like a prototype of sorts, because these never really sold well. This is from 1991, SMK 200 Type 1. So I have the full SMK 100 series now, I believe. And now we're on to the EI, which goes all the way down there. Sorry about that, I took a drink. But anyhow, these three, I'm not going to show all three of them off because this video is very long. But these are SMK 60 M3s. I have every version of them that, well, I know of. I need to get the SMK 30 series, which are like these but with bigger covers. And I also need to get the 821 rebrand that they have, which is the one I'm most after. It's actually one of my grails, just because of, well, it looks like a GE. Anyhow, next one is the Black & Decker SMK 60/M2. I would like to get an M1, which that might actually be my next purchase. Because I think there's still one up for sale. And yeah, this is just an 82141C rebrand, of course, direct copy. Which it's not a rebrand because EI made both GE and Black & Decker. Anyhow, next one is a General Electric. This is the SMK 6/M1, not SMK 6D. This is the one with the black plastic sensor. There's also an SMK 6/M2, which is exactly the same as this, just M2. And then next one, this one I got recently. This is the 82141. This is the very first rectangular model. It's not 82141C, it's just 82141. And this one, of course, has the old sensor, which I like. And this one is from circa... Actually, wait. Okay, yeah, this one's from circa 1979 to circa 1980. This one's probably a bit later. I know these were made in 1979 because I saw one with a date code. Oh, it fell right into place. I saw one with a date code. This one is from... I know this one has a date. 1984. And then these ones all the way down are from like circa 1985. I think this one's from circa 1990 or 1991. And I know this one here. I know that for a fact this one's from 1985 because it was 1 year after this. Or no, 1986, 2 years after that one. Next one is the General Electric 82131A. Got this from Leah. This is literally just an 82131, but the original box, which sadly I think Leah threw away, said 82131A. It's just a really late 82131 now. And it's from 1979. And yeah. This one was brand new, but Leah kind of took some parts off of it, but that's alright. it still works. That's all that matters. Next one is an 821301. It's actually a pretty early one. This one's basically intact, other than it being yellowed and having some paint on it. And this is from 1978. Next one is the 82121, which is just the 12.6 volt version of the 82101. There it is. It's from 1977. There's also an 82101, which came out before this, that had the circuitry like that one, but I'll explain it better when I get to that unit. Next one is my rarest GE, I think. Well, no, 82131A is rare, but and I guess just by looks, this is the rarest. This is the 8203001. This is the line cord version. Believe it or not, I actually had this before I had those two, which is crazy. Sorry, my legs are falling asleep. But here's the inside. They did have, or they most likely had versions with the Delta alarm. And this is from 1977. This is pretty late for these. Now, I'm not going to be explaining the entire GE timeline because I do it in every video. So, anyhow, next one is the 8202001. This is their hardwired version. This is actually my earliest GE I have, earlier than the first model they ever made. That one's a later version of their first model. This one actually has the Delta alarm. There's that. This is from 1975. This is my first ever GE too. And then this is their debut model, but this one's later. There was a really early one on eBay with the Delta alarm, but I sadly let that one go, and I did kind of pay the price for it because the person who got it ended up breaking it. And this actually, I believe this actually came from that person. Surprisingly. There it is, 82101. This was from 1986 or 76. Sorry. And the 8201101 used this circuit board, except they took this off and they gave it a white battery flag, and they gave it the mechanism that that one used. And those ones are slightly rarer than these. Now, there's quite a few people that have them now. Anyhow, on to the next row. Alright, next one. This is the JSNA I was talking about earlier that I got from Leah with the Model A Jameson. This is the 1806. And this one's from circa 1980. And it's broken. This cover is not supposed to come off on this model. Although there is a model that had a test button that had removable covers. That Vigilante rebranded. Anyhow. Next one is the Gas Sentry. This one's really just obscure, but I do like it. This is the Gas Sentry model number 15500. From circa, I want to say 1971. It's one of my more unique units. And I think the seller still has a few of these left. I do really like these though. They're actually a lot higher quality than the later ones with the knobs. Next one is my knockoff SS718. This is the Archer, even though I know it says Universal. But there was a sticker on here that fell off. And if I ever get the Universal version, which I plan on doing someday, hopefully, then I will glue the sticker back on, because I'd like to see this with the Archer sticker. I think it would be cool. This is the Archer 275451. And then the Universal version. This is all the Universal writing. Here, they just kept the same molding process. Model SS200, because Universal and Archer were the same company. From what I know, Archer was like their contractor brand, and then Universal was their more their brand that was sold in stores. Now a lot more people actually have the Archer version. There is a version of an Archer version that came in a retail box. That quite a few people have. But from what I've seen, the Universal ones pop up a lot more. And surprisingly, actually, the ones that came from the listing mine came from actually came in contractor boxes. I kept my box, and I don't think the other people realized they were contractor boxes. Anyhow, next one is the Vigilante Z700. This is I like to call it my knockoff SS74R. It's kind of fitting that I put it next to my knockoff SS718. But this is actually my first and only Vigilante. I'd like to get the version with test button, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And there have been a few that popped up. I just wasn't really interested in getting them for whatever reason. But yeah, this looks like a Sun 4R circuit board. That's why I call it my knockoff Sun 4R. And this one just looks like a plastic shell SS718. And the fact that there's a logo and it's slightly different plastic. Anyhow, next one is the Smoky Stover model 4002. This is from January 31st, 1986. This is a gateway-based unit. And of course, Smoky Stover is actually a comic book brand. I'd like to get the version that has like the straight up and down like sides instead of how it has this, because I think they just look unique. And I'd also eventually like to get the hardwired one. Anyhow, next one here, this is a Probe 101 based Sears. This is I actually got this from my cousin. He got it from his he got it from his uncles. And I remembered seeing this in the house and always wanting it, so I'm really glad to finally have it. This is the 30257-355. Probably Sears' last unit before they stopped looking like Sears. Then this is the gateway base. This is the Sears 46257-471 from 1984. Oh, and that one is from circa 1986. And I got that one from my mom's friend's house years ago, along with this one and this one. Alright. Next one is the Sears 462-57361 from January 22nd, 1983. I got this one off eBay last year for the brackets. This is another one. This is the one I got from my mom's friend's house. This is the black base. And this one's from 1982. This one's broken. I taped the button back recently just so it would look better. This is the Sears 462-57351 from 1981. 25th. Wait, what? 25th of May. Sorry about that. And I'm trying. I really want to get a new one of those. They're just always so overpriced. And the last two are probably my favorite Sears, or they are my favorite Sears. This one here is the BRK with heat sensor 246570046. This one sadly does not work, but it has the rare white test socket. And it's from 1980 or 74, I think, or something like that. Yeah, wait. Oh no, this one's from 1977. My bad. Forgot that that one doesn't actually have the date on the sensing chamber for some reason. And I'm after just the version without the heat sensor. So hopefully I'll get one of those eventually. I'm also after the F900D version, but that one should be easier to get. Sorry about that. Next one is my most recent Sears. This is the wood grain, probably my favorite unit in my entire collection, or one of my favorite units, just because it's wood grain. 439.57003. This is Guardian based. And I think the date's on the back. It's from 1979. And yeah, just a really nice unit. It's got some dust on it from sitting on a shelf on a display. But yeah, I'd like to get the F900D version of that in wood grain. That's like my most wanted wood grain unit. Just because I think it'd be cool to have. Now I'm just going to go down from here because it really hurts trying to fit in there and walk my way down. But anyhow, this one here, because these aren't in any order, I just have them in order by brand, really. This is the Norelco Smoky HB0933. This was actually a grail of mine, but thanks to Leah Woods, I was able to get one. And this is, of course, Guardian FB1 based. And it's from 1977. And then the model is right there. And now I want the HB0933A, which is the one that has their super high pitched, I think Delta one. So that's like the one that I really want to, just because of the sound. Sounds super cool. I originally thought that this would sound like that, but then I didn't realize this one just has a normal. Sounds just like a normal Kubisha LB27. Anyhow, next one is another Guardian FB1 based unit. I got this one recently. This was also a one. This is the Sunbeam Centurion. I don't really, I guess I'll take the bracket off. If I can't get it. Uh, 4521. Now the one I really actually wanted was the test button version, but this one does for now. And of course the seller ruined this thing, so it's really hard to test, so I haven't really been able to test it. It does chirp when I plug battery into it though. Nonetheless, still a really nice display. Next is the Guardian FRU1. And I don't know when that one's from. I think it's like 1977 as well. I don't really feel like taking the bracket off because it's a pain. This one here's from 1973. I like to get one of these with the sticker right here. There's versions with like stickers right here. Yeah, like Canadian ones. This one was an American listing. Next one is the Guardian RIX, I believe. Yeah, RIX from 1974. This is the line cord with the external transformer here. I'd like to get just the FRU FRU1L. That's the one I'm really after. That's actually the last one I need to. Well, I say that, but there's a strange version, funnily enough, that I saw in one of my old videos that is now deleted. That's like a big square, and then the sensing chamber is at like the very edge, and it's like just a square unit. I don't know what was up with those, but I think it was up actually at like around the time I bought this. It's no longer up. This here is a Guardian FRU2. I'm the only person to own one of these. Alright. There it is. It's from 1975. Yep. And I'd like to get the FRU2L. That's another Guardian I'm after. But that one's gonna be those are actually rare. These are not rare in Canada, but the FRU2Ls are actually very rare. Actually, I think there's only been like one or maybe two found in houses for sale. So that one's one that I'll definitely have a hard time getting. And this is my last Guardian. This is the FB1A. This is from 1980, believe it or not. And this is the rare Norwegian text one. And I do not feel like taking the cover. Actually, I'll do it. There it is. The covers are actually easy to put back on these ones, whereas the Sears version I have, it's a pain to get the cover back on. Which is why I looked for the date code on the back of the unit. And there is a hardwired version of that I'm not, well, kinda after. I do want the one that's based off of the 330L, based off of that, which I think is like the FRU3 or something like that. I don't know. Anyhow, this one here, this is the ESL 706-1. This is the extraordinarily rare line cord one. I don't even know how I ended up with one of these. But there's the inside. It's from February of 1974. There's the model there. They just kept the cover for the normal ones. ESL wasn't very good with keeping track of their units. But there's not really much to say about that. I'd like to get the Edwards version with like the cool design. If you know, you know. And I'd also eventually like to get the 709 and possibly just the hardwired version of this, although I don't really need a hardwired version of this. This one here is the ESL 706, I believe. 206, ESL 206. This one's from 1981. This is a late one. This is what the Gillettes are based off of. Then here's the Gillettes. This is a 941. The bracket is on my wall. And they most likely had line cord versions of this and battery powered versions of this, and they most likely had hardwired versions of this. So yeah. And this is the 929. This is their 12.6 volt version. This one did not come with the bracket. And this one's from 1977. Not really much to say about that. There's plenty of videos on these units. There used to not be on these, but now they're becoming more common in collections, surprisingly. And the last two of this row, before we get to the old stuff, well, other than these. So yeah, this one here, this is a C&M Industries Model 5. I'm one of two people to own this, the other person being Jan Eaton. And I actually was able to see a picture from the 70s. It was a fire display board. A fire department had it. And it was one of these, and there was also, I think, in a Demco SS74R, and then Smoke Sentinels, and it was just a really cool image. If I can find it, I'll put it up here. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool, and that makes me like this even more. And this was technically my first wood grain unit. Then here is the Smoke Sentinel 30-77. 3077, I forget the model. RAF5, I think. 30-77 ARF. Oh, 30-77 ARF5. I don't know why I was struggling there. This one here is from 1984, if I remember correctly. But I'm not taking the cover off because it's a pain, or it can be a pain. So yeah, this is just a unit I'm super glad to have. Something I never expected to actually own, because they're just not really too common. Anyhow, let me move around here a little bit. Sorry about that. Alright, the last row now, and I'm done. This one here is the Wells Fargo Smoke and Burglar Alarm P5F from 1979. This is Guardian FB1A based. And Guardian, I do believe, had a version of this that was Guardian labeled. And then Sears had a version with the big Sears logo right here that I saw in a catalog that I'd like to find. Then next one here, this is an Amway. We're getting onto the Amway collection, which I think I have the most Amways. This is the Amway E-9309. This is probably their rarest model, honestly. One of at least. It's 83R based, believe it or not. And this one is from (1986), and I imagine they probably, this one does not have a false alarm sensor, but I do imagine they probably had versions of this with the false alarm sensor, which would make these even cooler and rarer. Next one, this is for their most common model. This is the Amway E-8444. This one is from circa 1981, which is pretty neat. They also had a 9-volt version of that I need to get. That's the last Amway I need. Next one, this is a pretty rare one. I'm actually the only person to own this. This is the Amway, and the brackets on the shielding, by the way. Amway E-8315 from 1977. And mine is the American version, but Jan actually has a Canadian version, which is, I think, E-8315C. So I'm the only person with the American version. And I've only seen, I think, 2 of this specific version in a house before. But then this is the more common version, the Amway E-8375 from 1978. This is the one with the test button. They're both based off of the same thing, which is a smoke guard something. Some smoke guard model. I think it's like the 805A or something like that. The ones that I like to call the house, because they look kind of like houses. And then here is my only smoke guard, and probably one of the rarest you can get, honestly. This came from James. I got this a while back now, actually. And this, I completely forgot the model, believe it or not. This is the model. Where is it? Oh, model 720 from 1973. It's actually earlier than the one James kept, if that is the correct code. It is the one that was in the worst condition, but I specifically asked to have that version. I was not forced to have it. And even though it's damaged, I still just really like it. It's one of my favorites. Next one here, this is the Vulcan SR04. From circa 1970. This is the Vanguard. There's no model. This is also circa 1970. These actually, believe it or not, do not have models that like on the label. They're probably, I'm sure if there's catalogs of them, then they probably have the model there. Then this is the Vulcan Mark II. Kind of see it. Mark II. These are pretty rare. I'm glad to get it. I got it for cheap. And then here is the Masterguard MG300. I got this from James a while back. Yep. Fully metal and wooden, which I love. And this is also one of my favorites in my collection. And then the last unit and my most recent acquisition, the Smoke Sentinel model 255S, which is what this is sort of what that's based off of. And yeah. So, without that being said, that was my entire vintage smoke alarm collection as of now. My back hurts, I can tell you that. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. And this will actually probably be the last time that I'll ever be able to make a collection video like this out on the floor. Until, of course, until I can get my own place, which won't be for a few more years. So, this will probably be the last time I'll be able to do a collection video like this. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.